Good morning. This is Desiree Dubois, founder of An Empowered Woman and Homework. Homework is where you can live where you work where you live, anywhere in the world. And every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., we meet for coffee and conversation. We talk about different products, different programs, different services, and ways that we can build our communities, our businesses, and our lives. So today I have the pleasure with you with sharing with you how we built the board of influencers. So back in thinking like 2014, 15, we wanted to be able to say, how can we engage other people in supporting what we're doing? Specifically, what we were doing then is we had launched a digital magazine and we were thinking about distribution. We know what our list had, but we didn't know how to expand it to other people's list. So we like to think or take credit for the fact that we created this word board of influencers. We thought, what about people who influence our same market? So technically, an influencer is a person has the ability to influence potential buyers of a product or a service by promoting or recommending them. And again, so we wanted more women professionals and entrepreneurs. And so we said, who has that? Who has that ability to be able to influence it? So we did a search. And some of these things I'll just go through and do it with you. But we went to Google and we said, Google, okay, like, what do you want more of? So I'm going to demonstrate this. I'm going to share my screen. This will be very interactive, but just so you'll see the process and how simple actually it could be. So whatever industry you're in, some of it is, are you in real estate? Some of you are in different products, a podcast. So I would go to Google and I would say groups of women. Okay, let's see. What are we doing here? Oh, no, 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 no. Groups. And so if you're looking for more professional realtors, if you're looking for more investors, if you're looking for, we wanted groups. We thought groups of women or women's group of women in business. And so it could be women business groups, women groups of women entrepreneurs, groups of women professionals. It could have been groups of whatever we wanted, not the individuals. We wanted the groups of them. So then you get a list of all these different groups: executive network groups, Powering Billion groups, Women Business Symposium, and this list and list and list and list and list of groups of women in business, top 20 business networking groups for women. Then we wanted women groups outside different areas. We wanted to be able to expand our reach to Europe, to South Africa, to Canada, to Asia, to the Middle East. And so we got the groups here. We had an assistant go in and pick all the groups, get their information, phone numbers, email addresses, and the person in charge information. So we took that information and we have in our database, which is Infusionsoft, hundreds of groups of different women's groups. Now they have to be updated now. This is back in 2015. But it's not only the ones that we Googled, but the ones that we knew of. I'm a totally advocate is that you should be participating in many groups and organizations. So I was members of a lot of all the local women groups that I could participate in, including the national ones. So say, for example, I wanted groups of women in business in Italy. So I gave him the top list of where the list of people where we wanted groups. How I got that was that I went to Google again. I said, where are the top countries where women are in business? So I started with that. I said, okay, these are the countries I want. So then all of a sudden you get a group of women in Italy. Now, some may be more accurate than others, but you search and you keep searching and you find the ones that would be appropriate for you, like women entrepreneurs in Italy, on the growing power of women in business, the Italian category, Italian women in business. So just different things. You kind of search it, but you get someone, an assistant or an intern. This is a perfect thing for an intern to do. The 14 most influential Italian women. So you can kind of go from that, from different countries to different cities to different professions. You can do that by, if I want it in women, groups of women in real estate. You do the same thing. They'll give you all the different women's groups, and women real estate investors groups for meetups. If you wanted women's groups in design or interior design. This is your basics. So women interior designers. So again, you just kind of keep 20 inspiring female designers you know to know. So you just kind of search. I mean, Google is your friend. I mean, so go there first. Okay, so decide exactly what you want more of. So say for example, Regina, you decide to want more people, women in arts and crafts, and I don't know if that's a correct
Hmm.
um, terminology, but
Yeah, it is.
okay. And you'll find idea images, these are images, arts and crafts movement, crafts for ladies groups, what women can do. I mean, so you just kind of search and you just change it different ways, So if it's not groups of women arts and craft groups, arts and craft organizations for women. And you can just kind of keep searching for it, get your list of people that you want to outreach of. And then when you go through that, and again, it can be anywhere in the world. So do not limit yourself to people that are here. People outside of the United States really want to be involved and want to be have a connection with people in the United States, vice versa. You should want to be able to say, I've got an international organization. So we can legitimately say that we have international members. Now, getting those members to participate is another thing, but go from the basics, decide exactly what you want, build your list. And from that list, the next thing that we did is that we contacted them, we called them. I'm an advocate of calling people first because that way you make sure you have the right email address, you make sure they're even receptive to the idea. And more importantly, a lot of times people don't get your emails. I mean, sometimes they get lost in the group, especially if they don't know who you are. I mean, a lot of emails, people don't even open up emails unless they recognize the name. So I call, and you don't have to leave a message with the gatekeeper. I can say, hi, my name is Desiree Dubois. I'm a founder of an Empowered Woman, a women's professional group in California, and we would love to connect with you and invite you to connect with you and see how we can best support each other. So if they're open to it, then they make an appointment and you talk to them about what you're doing. So with that list, sometimes you can also vet through who's interested, who's not interested, who's still in business. It can give you an idea by going to the website how big the group is or how robust the group is. Sometimes they have the members list or the members, portal there that you can actually see and peep at and see what kind of members they have. So you want to be able to do that. So you set up the introductory call and you simply express to them what you're doing. You're building a board of influencers. And then more importantly, what does that entail? So what do you want on your board of influencers? Think of them as quote unquote in your mind, a sales team or your ambassadors or people that's going to promote you. So at that time, and it can change each different times. At that time, we wanted women's groups and organizations that had at least 5,000 women that they influenced, and preferably the membership type because they could offer our magazine. At that time, we were putting our magazine to their new members as a added benefit, as a special, as a bonus. So we thought that they would have the most. They would have events that they could share with us, that we could share our events with them. And that was just a more of an active thing. So that's what we were looking at that time. So we actually created a form on our Infusionsoft. After we talked to them, we said, okay, this is what we're doing. We're looking to connect with women in your area or in your group or your organization. And we have a digital magazine that we would love for you to share with your members. Again, either at that time it was a monthly magazine, and we want you to be able to share it monthly for free. And this is what it had in it. The information talked about what it had in it. And in exchange, what we would do is that we would interview them on our Google Hangout. That's how long ago it was. We had Google Hangouts. And unfortunately, if you see some of those videos, you can tell it was way back then. But we would do a video interview of them and share it with our community as well as our social media. In addition to that, we would include them in our magazine on our board of influencers. So, they got consistent advertising. I'm going to show you all that in a second. So, for most people, they say, okay, that's great. There was no cost involved, there's no money transpired. It was simply a support group, and some of them extended the opportunity for them to interview us. But more importantly, they got to be interviewed. And we started off with like 30 minutes. At that time, the magazine, and still is called Let's Talk Success. So we said we like the topic of our interview is going to be how you have created success in your organization. So everybody loves to talk about their success, so they were happy to be able to do that interview. Start off at 30 minutes, we cut it down to 20 minutes. We realized that really 10 to 15 minutes is the sweet spot, and that way we had the videos. We archived their videos on our website, so they were forever on our website. So with that, people said yes, or they said no. When we mentioned that, we told them what the criterion was of 5,000. Some people said, "Well, my list is not 5,000 as yet." And so then we said, "Well, then where are you? Do you feel comfortable sharing?" And I don't mean your social media reach. I mean your email list. When I asked for the 5,000, your email list. Be very specific about that. Because some people have a great reach on the social media, which is great, but for our purposes, it wasn't valuable to us. It was the email list. We weren't asking for the email list. We were asking them to send our information to and through their email list. So they told us that if they weren't quite there, it depended on how active the organization was, how enthusiastic they were to support us, and we made those, we made those variations accordingly. But that's what we wanted. So we sent them. We created a form asking for the first name, last name of the company, email address. We asked them for this information under the guise of the fact that we wanted to make sure we have the correct information for them, which means that we want to make sure we had the correct website that they wanted to use. We want to make sure that we had the correct whatever the information was. We wanted to make sure that let me do this, we had the correct information. So with that information, but also on that, we said, give us your social media handles. We also asked approximately how much people were in their list, and a couple other questions to buffer, to make it feel warm and fuzzy. They submitted that information to us, and then we scheduled the interview with them. So some people on that list said that they had like a couple 100,000 people, on that list. Some people had, way more than 5,000. Some people had whatever it was, and we don't know how, candid or how accurate all those numbers were, but that's what they gave us. So we scheduled the appointment. I do a lot of bank recording. I think people have heard me say that before. My recording also, I selected maybe 3 or 4 days where, I have 2 or 3 in the morning, 2 or 3 in the afternoon, so that we get them all done. And then we distributed them periodically, like every week we would distribute Let's Talk Success, and it was be the person that we interviewed. And then we archived them again, and I'll show you where we archive them on our website. So once we did the interview, then we shared it, and then we archived it. And so they had that. And then from that point on, they were able to, then we sent them the magazine a couple of days before. So they were the first to know, and then they would be able to send the magazine out. So let me show you a couple of things. Can you still see my screen, everybody? Yes, no, maybe so. Yes, yeah, yes. Okay, great. um, this is our newer magazines, and we're still doing the same thing. So hopefully everybody has had this magazine. You've looked at our magazine. Please, please, please read our magazine. So it's easy, easy, easy. So what we did is we created a board of influencers. And so we put their names and we put their business names. Previously, this is a new magazine, so we haven't had a chance to do it yet because we're updating our board, but we would make their business name hyperlinked. So someone could literally just go and say, oh, that person is in, Pat Lynch does this. Let me click on, and it takes them directly to their website, or take them directly to their landing page, take them directly wherever they wanted to go. So that's great advertising for them, to be in a magazine. Every issue they were here. And these are some of them. Some of them we just recently we did, but we're going to go through again and, review with everybody else. But this is the secret. This is the magic right here. We have a reach of over 1 million thanks to our board of influencers. What we did is we added all those numbers of all the people that they said that they had. And we actually at that point had almost 3 million. So we figured we just dumb it down just in case, for some people exaggerated to over 1 million. So we were able to say to potential sponsors, to potential partners, that we actually had a reach of over 1 million thanks to the board. So it wasn't saying that we had that on our list, but we had that reach, and that's a really, really valuable tool for us. And that was really going to be a really valuable tool for you as to being able to get sponsors and be able to get supporters one way or the other. And so for them to be listed in the magazine, because if they were to be listed in any other magazine, most people have to pay. So what they did is they got the magazine, they shared it, they were proud to share it because their name was in it. Lots of times people are not going to be so willing to share if it has nothing to do with them, but they were able to share it and say, hey, I'm on this board. Just like if you're on the board of advisors or board of directors, people are proud to be on those boards. So we wanted you had to position this to be just as valuable to them. And you can change it. It could be your board of connectors, could be your board of ambassadors, it could be your board of peer advisors. It doesn't have to be the board of influencers. That's how what we use because we wanted to follow through that definition. It could be whatever you want it to be from that point on, but incorporate a board that would could support you in your efforts. So they got the distribution, and then if you go to we started doing just this last one. We have an event every second Sunday of the month called the Second Sunday. And we gave them, the ones that are active, the ability to host our breakout rooms. So it gives them, so when we introduce in our team, it's right here with our team. We introduce our team, and then whoever's active on that event, we say also want to introduce on our board so and so, so and so, and so and so from our board. And they get a chance to introduce themselves on a 30-second elevator pitch. They also get a chance to be able to host the breakout rooms, which gives them a little bit more visibility. And also this last month, what we incorporated was including them in our invitation about the second Sunday. So here we have the second Sunday event page, and we included the special thanks to our board of influencers. So we gave them additional promotion. And so people were able to see them and give them more visibility. So it's just a matter of, this doesn't cost us anything to put this extra line in there. It didn't cost us that much, well, to put an extra page in our magazine or to even incorporate it on our website. But you're able to give them that way they're very inclined to send this out. Because if they have their picture there, they're being they're being acknowledged, so to speak. So then along with the other events from that point on our website, if I can get back to our Homework Live. So what we do is we have our Homework Live, and it's our archives, and so these are some of the interviews with our board of influencers. Not all of these are our board of influencers. Some of these are combined, but it started off with just our board of influencers, and then we just did other interviews. So they can actually, and this is not all of them. We're still adding to. We're refreshing it. Some of the people, unfortunately, on our board have either gotten out of business or have passed. So we were doing that, but then now we can also say that they're on our website. And we just simply took the unit in the interview, and we kind of classified it, the topic, and presented it there. So, I mean, that's real estate. I mean, I would be glad to promote somebody else's information if I knew that I could get additional visibility on their website, in their newsletter, in front of the room on their events, their monthly events, as well as being able to, and then on top of that, they can also, we're really tightening up our affiliate program. So they can send this out with our affiliate link, and anyone that subscribes to a membership or to any paid event, they can get compensated for it. So it's not, even if they can't attend themselves, that's their incentive to say, hey, check out this event this Sunday because they're going to have this, and this. I'm on the board of influencers. I love to support them. And they put their affiliate link on that email, underline that email. So if they click, they're tracked through the system. And then if they actually purchase our cookies is what the time period you have for an affiliate to be paid on. Our cookies are indefinite. So they can just do it once, and then whatever that person comes back later, 6 months later, whatever, whenever, they can still get compensated. They'll get paid for that referral. So that's even another benefit to them. So for them to promote our event, send on a dedicated email prior to the event once, twice, hopefully. Send out the magazine after the fact so we can get the distribution and get the open visibility in exchange for being on our archive on our website, in exchange for being promoted on the event page, in exchange being promoted in the magazine, in exchange for being visible. It's a great exchange. It's a great exchange, but you have to really embrace with people that really are going to play full out. Some of them want to be on the board, but they really will. They'll send it out the last minute through the social media. That doesn't work. So what we're going to incorporate now, again, we're going through our lists, and I sent an email out a couple of weeks ago asking them, are they still interested and available to be on the board? And a couple of them responded back, and we're going to meet and talk and see what they're at on that point. The ones who don't, I'm going to go back to our list or redo a fresh list of people, women's groups and organizations, and invite them to be on the board. And what we didn't do before, what we are going to do, we're going to have an event. We're going to have an event in June, I believe it is, after this next month, so after May's edition, and have an event and invite them to like a gathering, virtual, obviously. So it could be the ones who have committed. Our plan is to actually, we're going to see who participates well full out in May. And at that point, they'll be able, in June, we'll have our event and we'll be like a wine tasting, and we'll send them a little sampler of wines, different wines that we'll take a wine tasting together. We're willing to make that expense if they've participated, and they don't know about that. It'll be a pleasant surprise for them. But we decided that maybe we need to connect more with the board of influencers, and we need to make them actually, quote unquote, in our minds, like our sales team, nurture them, reward them, maybe set up challenges, like whoever can get the most people for this event, because we have tracking, so we know who's sending what. When you register for the events, you fit how you refer to us, and also we just know who's on our list, and we can tell by the tracking of where they come from. So we'll just do different things to encourage them, to nurture them. That's what we haven't done in the past. And that's what we want to do in the future. And going forward, we want to be able to reach out to everybody and say, okay, let's do a new video on you, because I'm sure there's new things that you have to offer. And let's let you look at the magazine and really have them commit to sending out the magazine. And again, I can usually tell because I find out when they're going to commit, and I can see if there's a burst of registrants. If someone says, I'm sending my email out on Friday at 3 o'clock, between 3 and 5, I can see if there's a burst of registrants, and I know that they came from them, especially if they start saying I came from this group or organization. It may be impossible to track everybody. At this point, we don't have that system, but you can get enough idea. You can get an idea of a person's heart and whether they're really interested and willing to be able to work with you. And my thought is that if they don't, I'm going to, instead of having them just become a board on the board of influencers, I'm going to have it maybe limited to 3 months, like a trial period of 3 months. And then if I don't see them participate in 3 months, be able to move it forward, because we only went with so many of them. And I think we have like 28 or had 28. So 28 people were truly sending out their emails for our second Sundays. We'd have a different attendance. We'll be able, again, we're going to revise that and really work that through. Another thing to keep in mind is that just like the direct marketing, multi-level marketing, it's some not, again, this is obviously not that, but it's just a way to be able to get them and feel like they're part of something special. So even if we have to do events quarterly, say, hey, this is what happens with this and this will happen to that, and get some feedback, really just incorporate them. That's what we didn't do, and that's what we're going to do more of. Really incorporate them as part of our business. And again, at least do a quarterly meeting or event, as opposed to just waiting for once a year. As long as they are engaged, as long as they're involved, I think they'll be happy with that. So if you can promote them, if you can invite them, if you can reward them, and if you can connect with them and support them, it's a mutual thing. It has to be a mutual thing. I've had some people say, well, I can do it sometimes, I can't do it all the time. Okay, well, we send your, I don't, and so my response to that would be, well, I don't have the ability to take your name on and off the magazine because it's costly to change that page. When you can, you can't. So do you want to create some other kind of arrangement? Just do affiliate, which means like, I don't want you there 12 months a year and say you can only send out for 3 months or 4 months, because then it's not a fair exchange. And I'm not going to change out every month somebody who's in and who's out. I want people who are relatively committed. So, and again, it's not, and you do the same. I do the same for them. You have received emails from me about certain people that I have sent out that either I'm participating or supporting one way or the other. And that's what it's all about. So I don't need a lot. Our concentration now is going into different countries, because we really want this magazine to be distributed, and we need the magazine distributed most of the magazine distributed, because we need the open rates, the analytics on that, so that we can go forward and get sponsors. So that's our goal, that's our intention. Yes, get the people at the second Sundays, but more importantly, get this magazine, a digital magazine, in the hands of more people, so that every time someone opens the magazine, we have those analytics. then we can approach sponsors and saying, okay, that's where our big dollars is. Being able to approach sponsors and saying, we've gotten this many open rates. We've got people that are that in on the magazine this long because they're watching the videos. Also with YouTube, it's not about, as far as getting paid on YouTube, it's not about how many people open the videos, how long they watch the videos. So that's why we have a lot of videos in the magazine. So you can actually, some of them will be as long as an hour, and some will be really short ones. But that's the objective, is to be able to have that data, so that we can actually build a magazine up for sponsorship. Um, and that's so what you want to do is think of, again, what you want more of, and what is your goal? Is your goal, again, to get more analytics, to get more bodies in an event, to get more distribution, whatever it is, decide what your goal is, and then who's going to help you do that, and then be able to bring people into, whether it's your board of influencers or board of, again, advisors or peers or connectors, whatever you want to call it, and then be able to incorporate them as part of your team, like your sales team. And again, they can be compensated by through your affiliate program, and then just doing it from the heart, supporting each other from the heart. So let's see. What else would I want to show you from that? So I'm opening it up for different questions, and I would love to be able to talk to each one of you and see what kind of board you can put together that would be appropriate to building your business, and then answer any questions you may have. So I'm going to stop sharing and open up. Yes, and feel free to unmute yourself, because you're going to rely on me to read the chat, and I may not be able to read the chat.
I
So
love the page with the captions under it. So those were all interviews, then I take it.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, those are all interviews. So what we did with those is that we did all the interviews, and we kind of put them, made them, and actually on our old website they were looked a little differently, but we just kind of put them into, a format. And again, we have about probably at least 20 or 30 more. Some of them are just too old. They get out, people not active with us anymore, so we're not going to promote them at this point in time. And some of those people are just different members, different people, women members from our organization that we did business with, and that we were going to support them, and they're going to support us. The whole thing, and those people, what we need to do now actually is contact all those people that we have and say, hey, we like to redistribute, repurpose our interview. Interview is a great interview that has some nuggets, because so many interviews, no matter how long ago it was, there's always a golden nuggets in it. So we have, I think you've heard me mention about having people pull out the one-liners. So we're just getting a new team of apprentices right now. And that's one of the projects that go through all of our podcasts and all of our videos, pull out the one-liners. And then we'll invite them, say, okay, we're going to share our interview again with you. Would you like to do the same? And if they say yes, then we're going to share it. If they say no, then we're not really going to share it, because it has to be mutual. It just has to be, I'm just a real believer in playing full out 100%. So if someone just for whatever reason, is not willing or able to do it, then it's okay. It's okay. But then that way, we give them the information, if we share it and we give them the one-liners, all you gotta do is copy and paste the link, and they share it, then it's a win-win. Just kind of repurposing it, because it's great for them to remind people what they've done and remind them with the information. It's a perfect way to promote yourself. It's much better promoting yourself through other people's platforms than to always promoting yourself through your own platform. It's much more powerful. So thank you for asking that. So let's go through our
No,
list.
I think that's a great,
I'm sorry.
I was saying, I think that's a great tool. I think it's a great tool for bringing people in, to put them in a magazine or to put them on a seminar or some kind of program, because now they're already posted, they're in a magazine. I like the flow of this a lot.
Great. And you can do the
And
same
it
thing
could be for my,
even with your website. Like say, for example, you reach out to a lot of attorneys and professionals. So you can say you're a board of professionals, and it doesn't have to be a lot. It could be, I'd rather have 4 people who are really playing full out, supporting me, and I can support, than to have 20 people where some are sleeping at their wheel. So, so even if you just, that way you're supporting them and they're supporting you, you're on their referral list. And when you do something, when you send out an article, when you send out something, they have something else to share with their community. And so, again, it just gets people out of that, it's all is me, kind of mentality, that we are all in this together. So you could start even with that to say inviting people that you want to develop a relationship with and that you value what say I'd like to invite you to be. I'm setting up a board of, a board of professionals, and I'd like to invite you to be on it. What it involves is I will do an interview with you, or do a podcast interview with you, or do a Facebook Live interview with you, and I'll share it with my community, as well as put it on my website or whatever platform that you have to work with. And you're going to ask them to do the same. And I always ask, are you willing and able to do the same? Because some of them are willing, but they're not able. People in the financial industry, many times there are certain industries, their lists are in a computer system that don't have the liberty of sending out individual emails. It's all is company generated. So they don't have that. All they may have is a small personal list, or they may have their social media. But it's good to know that, so you can decide how much you're going to invest into them or their project. So I always ask them that kind of question first, that, I'm putting together a board of influencers, or board of, do you have the ability to share something like that with your community? Are you willing and able? And that way, if they say they're not willing or not able, then say, okay, good. Join me at my next event or something like that. But it just wouldn't be appropriate for you. It has to be a win-win. Otherwise, unless that person has such credibility, such value in their credibility to have them, even if they don't participate. Like some people have people on their board of directors and board of advisors because they have such credibility in the industry, then it's worth it. Then that's the exception, but it's not the rule.
Hmm.
So if somebody sees someone's name and say, "Ooh, I'm going to go with her. I'm going to sign up with her because I know that person, and that person is like the, expert at this," then
What's the least amount of emails, contacts do they need to have to make it worth my while?
you set it up. I mean, we said 50, we said 5,000 because we're at that time our list was 53,000. So we thought, it's really relative to not only what you're offering, but what you're needing. So we wanted that 5,000. But say, for example, if your list is only 1,000 or 2,000, then maybe 500. Or it really just depends on, and we made exceptions for people who are we just know they're playing full out. They're going to, whatever, if they had even a 1,000 list, they had a very active 1,000 list, and people responded to their anything they sent out, the people responded to. Because some organizations where they're more smaller, but they're very active and they're very close knitted. So you make that exception. I would say, depends on the person, depends on how they're going to play out, and depends on where you're starting from. I would start with 500 at least, 1,000. I think it also depends on the industry. If you are in an industry, like if you have a women's group and organization, you should have at least, 5,000. If you're if you're talking to individuals, an individual may not have as much as a group or organization. That's why we went to groups and organizations. So if you wanted attorneys, I would go to the Association of Women Attorneys, or Association of this or that. I would go to the associations. We went to the associations, to the top, the groups who had that kind of list, not to individuals. I think we did one or two individuals, and they were a young lady from Ireland who is a blog writer. She's a very successful blog writer. And I forget the name of the periodical. And we wanted her to write a blog about us for this periodical. So she personally probably didn't have a big list, but she had a great reach. And she did interview us, and we did get that exposure and exchange. So it's not, set in stone. You find out the whole mindset is that these are ways that you can build your business, build your reach, build your, value, with incorporating other people with a win-win. It has to be a win-win, but it's a way that you can serve and they can serve you.
You
Okay,
gave
great.
me a great idea for insurance because I know so many people that are high ranking and that people respect their opinion, and all I need to do is get them into a conversation or this interview and then post it and have it readily available for people to go back and see and review and go over. Which do you think is better, the Facebook Live or the podcasting?
Facebook Live, you can do both. You do, like right now, I'm doing Facebook Live via Zoom, and from this recording, I can simply go in and pull the audio, which will be my podcast, and I simply have the video, which will be on YouTube. And YouTube is, you always want visibility on YouTube if Google owns YouTube, so it'll help you in your Google ranks. So I find that the Zoom is the easiest, fastest, way to go
Yeah.
and be able to hit two at one time. So you can take the audio, put it up into your podcast feed and distribute from there. So you get two for one. But the video is important, especially now that people are comfortable doing it. Most people feel comfortable doing the videos. And it depends on what you're talking about. But you also have part of your audience is also school teachers. So I would really Google organizations and clubs or whatever for school teachers, if that's your clientele. Again, what do you want more clients to come from? What kind of clients are you looking for? I'm looking for women professionals, entrepreneurs. Where are they going to be? They're going to be in groups and organizations. Okay, so if you want teachers as your clients, then where the teachers are going to be? The attorneys are great, but and insurance people are great, but are they going to bring you clients? Are they going to bring you more teachers? So again, so it just depends on what your intention is. It could be credibility,
Teacher
it
union.
could be
Teacher
visibility,
union.
or it could be revenue. So,
Okay.
okay. So yeah, so you have to decide whether you want credibility, which is people that are credible and you just want to be associated with them and have them associated with you on your websites and your peer articles, or visibility, people that we're going to share and give you that visibility, which is what we're looking for right now, or revenue, which people are going to bring you clients, potential clients, which I feel I like to do all three in one. So I want credibility, visibility, and revenue.
Yes.
So think about when you're putting this together, think about who's going to bring you that end result. Great questions.
Great.
Someone else. Who else? Erica, so good to see you. Having questions? What are you working on? What's your business? Hamlet. So ladies, I'm here to support you and I'm more than willing to share some ideas and kind of flush some ideas out with you.
Hi, Desiree. This is Erica.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. Long time no talk. What are you up to nowadays?
Yes. I'm still doing business consulting for small businesses. I'm more one-on-one consulting for those who are established businesses looking to expand. And then separately, I've also work on projects with corporations who are setting up small business programs. So still in the same area
Fantastic.
of focus.
Great. Fantastic. Congratulations.
Oh,
How long have you had your business now?
this is the 15th year.
Wow, good for you. So who are most of your clients?
Um, for small businesses, they range across industries,
Mhm.
but typically they are in a position that they are ready to expand or scale from their current position. So either they're ready to open more locations or expand their product portfolio and are looking for um, to better structure their business so that they can support their growth. So we go into their operations and succession planning, et cetera. And then separate from that would be uh, organizations who, particularly in these days and times, are now trying to make sure they have a focus on small business growth and
Mhm.
are offering equitable procurement opportunities for them. So corporations or utility companies, um, I've been supporting them in developing their or expanding their small business programs.
And so who do you want more of?
It's a great question. So right now, as I assess the current marketplace, um, I am expanding my training component, which would be more directly to small business owners.
Mhm.
And in that training, the expansion of that is more online. So previously, of course, to COVID, then I was doing more in person,
Mhm.
but I shifted last year and have more of an online on demand approach. And so I want to expand that further.
And when you say small business, how small is small? Small times people refer to businesses under 1 million, businesses under from 1 to 5 million. So what's
Oh,
your
great
definition of
question.
small?
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. Or SBA's definition can go up to 50, right?
Right. It's like, okay.
So the sweet spot that I found are businesses who are probably the smallest is about 500,000 to 10 million. And it's in that in that range is usually when it requires them to shift. So it requires the business owner to shift from solely being the day-to-day operator into expanding his or her leadership, or it requires their leadership to now be more strategic versus just executional. Those are the types of shifts that are usually happening for companies within that revenue range.
Mhm.
And so that's where they typically can utilize more support in now shifting from being more entrepreneurial to um, more structured, kind of corporate like, as they continue to build that foundation on how they're going to move the company forward outside of the business owner.
Okay, so I know that you mentioned you work with all different verticals, all different types of businesses. If you were to choose one or two, who's that's been like, sweet, 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 who would that be?
Uh, those who are B2B, typically business services.
Okay.
And yeah, because you can, in the service industry, you can get pretty far without a lot of structure. When you have a product or service, day one, you have to figure out logistically how you're going to develop that product and get it from you to your customer. So innately, you have some of that structure. But from a service standpoint, um, you can grow quite a bit before needing to add some structure there. And
Mhm.
so disproportionately, that's where many of the clients sit.
Okay. So then, so what would be, sort of setting, so I'm thinking about, who would be a perfect for your board. And that niche is perfect. I mean, there's enough of that business that to totally satisfy your goals. So, definitely, again, and I encourage that because by her saying B2B, which means it's business to business, and by her saying between 500,000 to 10 million, small, ladies believe that's small business, and just being able to, you know, to niche that makes you that purpose, that person who's the influencer of that market, of that space, allows you to position yourself as that person in that space. Like by me specifically working with women professionals and entrepreneurs allows me to position myself as an influencer of women professionals and entrepreneurs. So you
Yeah.
want to position yourself as, whatever your space is so that you're asking for like-minded. So then thinking about if it's corporations, if it's organizations, whether it's, if you could, sounds like organizations, and there's a lot of organizations with those type businesses at that level. For example, I don't know if it's like YPO or, just different organizations that start at that
Mhm.
level. And if you can find them, because you don't need a lot. I mean, again, you could get 5 or 10 people that, saying, gives you a reason to connect with them. First of all, it gives you a reason to reach out to the top of the top. So if nothing else, the worst thing that happens, now they know about you and what you're offering that may not have known about you before. And by offering to interview with them, now they know even more about you because as you're developing some kind of relationship, it's a better know, like, and trust. They have an opportunity to hear you and hear what you're doing, and then you introducing them, and then it gives you a reason to follow up. You have to give them the copy of the interview thereafter, and you're promoting them. So people just inertly, if you're promoting them and offering them an opportunity, they will feel obliged, if it's we call it that, to support you as
Mhm.
well. So the worst thing that happens is gives you into those doors, gives you another reason to get into those doors, but not just for a one and done. A one and done would be like, okay, yes, I want to interview you for my podcast, or yes, I want to interview you for my article. But the ongoing relationship, oh, this is such a great, and I really respect your company, what you're doing. I'd like to invite you to be on my board. So for you, your board can be a board of experts, board of, it could be, and, you can be as creative as you want to be with that name, but it could be, a peer advisory board. Sometimes it's good if it feels there's other peers that you kind of advise each other. It's not as formal as an advisory board or a board of directors. But even if you wanted to do that, that's a different conversation. But but just getting them by putting them not just a one and done interview, but getting them involved in your company, that gives you a reason to reach out to them and to find out what they're up to. It gives me a reason to say, okay, so what are you up to now? How can I best support you? And And that it continues that conversation, which means that when they have a meeting, when they have their events, when they have their annual events, they can invite you to speak. When they have, their Christmas parties, they invite you to participate.
Mhm.
When they have certain things, so you're kind of implementing yourself or planning yourself inside that organization. So create a name of the board, and this kind of work from the top. I work from the top down. I work from the bottom up. I work from the top down. So go to the top of the top of the top, because you'd be surprised. If I can get the top, then I don't need to go much really, I don't need to go really
Right.
far. My list was extensive for the most part because I was a part of a lot of these groups and organizations, CEO Space and REN and Women's and NABO and all those groups and organizations. So that's how mine got that long. But now going back, I'd rather go for the less is more. So I think they're
That's
very
very
valuable
helpful.
for you.
Yeah, that's very helpful because I've always had and which attracted me to your conversation today. I've always had an advisory board, so to speak, more informal, but I looked at them more realistically, more peer to peer. So fellow experts who focused on, let's say, HR or accounting, so that jointly, if I had a client that needed to go deeper in a particular area, then they were my natural referrals.
Mhm.
But what's helpful for what you just stated is I really had not thought of the organizations as part of the advisory board, even though I've several of the organizations I have relationships with, I really had not thought of them as being on my advisory
Mhm.
board, so to speak.
Mhm.
So that's really helpful um, in regards to being able to add a greater level of reciprocity to relationships that I currently have with those organizations already.
Mhm. And, the thing is that now influencer is such a big, buzzword. All of a sudden, if you're an influencer, you're this, you're that. So, even creating a board of influencers, sometimes, especially in the corporate world where it's not, where they look at it as the designers and the hip hoppers and, all those other people that are
Mhm.
on Instagram as influencers, it's a compliment for them to be considered in their industry on a board of influencers. So that, so feel free to utilize that, because again, according to Wikipedia, as a person has the ability to influence potential buyers of a product or service by promoting or recommending the items on social media, influencing adds serious credibility to your brand. So they say social media, but this doesn't have to be just that. So, that may for those top few people, being on the advisory board is one thing, and some people still have that connotation of advisory board being part of your corporation, but a board of influencers may be a compliment to them because they're like, oh, I've never been on one. I always wanted to be an influence, but you can say, oh, you are,
Ah,
so
yes.
I would separate,
Okay.
I would separate them for that reason.
Yes, I can see as you lay it out that way how it can be more quote appetizing, enticing for them as an
It's a
influencer.
buzzword, yeah, especially in
Yes,
the
and it
corporate.
feels less heavy too than the traditional advisory
Mhm,
role
mhm,
on the boards.
mhm.
So,
'Cause
yes,
they're
well,
hearing
thank
about
you.
influencers and they're, like, wouldn't you want to be on someone's board of influencers? So I said, it both is a compliment, but again, it would just kind of like, ooh, a board of influencers, tell me more about it. Like, what's the
Right.
about? And say, well, you influence, you have the influence over so many B2B
Hmm.
businesses and so forth. And I compliment you for that. And I'd love to be able to, showcase you. And this is what it would looks like. Again, just tell them what it looks like right up front, because, there's no cost involved. So it should always be a yes. But, but some people just, and then tell them what the time investment is, just a phone call or an interview, and say we have a quarterly fun things. Again, doing something for fun is not
Mm,
bad. And the reason why I do the quarterly, or would do the quarterly, is so that they can connect with each other. So for
mhm.
them, I mean, who they are, but they don't know who each other is. So they feel more connected. Like, okay, this gives me a chance. I said, let's give you a chance to meet the other people on our board, and some of them from all over the world.
Right.
So you should actually very expand your reach to outside the countries, because again, everybody wants what we're
Hmm.
doing here and vice versa. So it gives you a chance to get somebody from England, somebody from South Africa, someone from Europe, from wherever
Yeah.
it is, to be able to have one person, whether it's a blog person or organization, or just someone that influences a group of your potential clients. That's basically what it is.
Right. All right.
And
Thank
then,
you. Thank you as always.
you're welcome. Well, join us more often. Join us more often. Stay in touch.
Sure.
Okay,
Will do.
thank you. Who else? Who else? Come on, Pamela and Laura. What are your thoughts? Laura, you're so busy. Tell us how we can apply this to you. You looking
Well,
for
I have a new passion project that is called E-Teenpreneur, and we're teaching teenagers how to build and run businesses. And so
Mm,
we are reaching out to some top level organizations, High School Inc., some career path big organizations, anybody that has a entrepreneurial or leadership cohort through high schools. And so we've been the outreach. Our list is growing, although we haven't really strategically mapped out the offerings to them. You know, they've agreed to come play with us, but now we need to actually put something together. So that's why I was interested in the topic today, because we have plenty of interest, but we really, you know me, Desiree, I jump before I go. So now this has really helped. And I think what's really good is, you know, just like you said about 10 minutes ago, you know, to put these people in three categories. Either they're going to make you money, like sponsorships or any paid programs, or their participation to share, right? Or
mhm,
the expert or influencer to validate who you are and who your business is, right? So
mhm.
I think as we reach out there, I think it's good. I also think events are good, you know, to have these awards, right? Because people like to receive awards as well. So not only being on your board, but if they're not a fit, maybe you can run an event where someone is celebrated, you know, twice a year or something, or annually, and get other people that may not fit that spot, but again, they have a big name and they're up for the award, and make up an award for them to participate. I know we're playing with those ideas through our own membership. So
That's a fantastic idea. I haven't thought about that. We could have our, because, like you said, the awards are always a big thing, especially now virtually. If you can get away with virtually, it's basically no cost for you to have our Board of Influencers Awards, so to speak, and then just maybe that could be an incentive. We talk about different incentives for them to really promote. If we can feel a way to, and then you can actually what we can do as far as if we kind of find out a way of the participation and the value participation, the ones that actually have the affiliate link and people actually go forward and become a member, so, for us, the more you send out the magazine, the more you send out the invitations, the more chances you have of someone signing up as a membership. Even if it's a community membership where there's no funds involved, it's still tracked, but it's a membership. And then whoever has the most could be that person at that awards that win that award. But by having that event, which you brought up again, a great point is that they are now being, when they someone's awarded, they're going to send it to everybody.
mhm.
So I know every time I'm awarded, and I'm sure you're awarded, you send the invitation out to everybody. So that would also encourage them to do that and being able to have that event. It's a great
Yeah.
idea. Now you gave me something else to do. No, that is, I didn't think about that, but that is a great idea. Another way of being able to celebrate them and getting the whole thing is getting them engaged, getting them acknowledged, and getting them to get people on your list. They always have to opt in. I mean, otherwise, if it's just a new point, if you don't have their people opt in for an event or for something, for the magazine, for something, that way you are building your list. That's another way of building your list without having to do an extensive summit or something of that type. So what do you want more of? Or who's going to pay for your services, the adults or the children?
And the parents. So we have
Okay.
actually two marketing programs. We have one for the teenagers, but most of our spend is going to parents because that's who's going to purchase the membership.
So you reach out to different organizations. There's a lot of like the STEM organizations, for
Mhm.
the, um, and there's a lot of, I would have to Google, the for
Yeah.
example, we're looking at market, the children's market. I'm sure there's a lot of organizations. I want to say like the Boys and Girls Club, but I'm sure there's things that are entrepreneur, um, that again, the magazine, there's a lot of magazines, even periodicals. If there's a magazine that there's like, I know we have Entrepreneur Magazine where they have like 30 under 30 and 20 under 20. I don't know if they have 18, under 18, or
Yeah.
whatever they have. But, even getting something like that, though, like that would be a great credibility entrepreneur magazine. And they're very open to different things. They used to come out to our second Sundays and do things for empowered women. Is it right there in Orange County where you are? What they used to be, anyway, the head office. And so your board can include periodicals or include people, again, anyone that has influence. That would be a great person to have.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we're affiliated as a contributing author for Girl Scouts right now.
Mhm.
And then we've also teamed up with uh, this teen magazine,
Mhm.
your teen magazine that sends out every 6 months to 9,000 school counselors,
Mhm.
a nice size directory and magazine, which they gave us a full page spread. If we advertise their magazine, they give us a full page spread that goes out to 9,000
Nice.
school counselors. So just think of them sending that magazine, forwarding it to the parents of the school, right? So that's like hundreds of thousands of parents
That's
that will see
great.
that. So yeah,
And it's also, they're always usually very generous with giving you copies of the magazine, or if you give them your list, they'll send out copies to your people as well. So sometimes, I know we used to do second Sundays, the magazines would give us second magazines to give out as second Sundays, like More Magazine did that a lot,
right.
and Entrepreneur Magazine. So when that time comes, so yeah, just concentrating on those people that continue that and getting them involved and promoting it.
Yeah.
So are you,
Thank you.
so that's your emphasis right now, is the people under 18?
Under 18, yeah, 13 to 18. So,
Okay.
and then we've teamed up with some people that go grade school. So there's hopefully there's transition. Once they're done with grade school, they can come into our program. So because they are basically under 13 and we're over 13, like Kids Think Tank, has a big like Shark Tank type
Mhm, mhm,
event,
mhm.
so we're giving our community membership free to anybody that participates there because it's no cost because it's a digital product, right? And so we get exposure there. So hopefully if they have older brothers and sisters that want to get into entrepreneurship, we get exposure, or once they're out of their program, they advance to 13, 14 years old, they can come into our program. So
Fantastic. So yeah, I know there's a lot of career days when schools start opening,
mhm,
a lot of career days. So being able to make those runs, but more importantly, getting some of those, like you said, the school organizations or the districts, just actually seeing if somebody from a school district, that has that school that would invite you to participate in certain things, whether it's, events, luncheons, dinners,
right.
awards, meetings, things of that type. That would be
And
awesome.
of course, we're invited to plenty of speaking engagements as well, because
Mhm.
people that want to have, run business cohorts or whatever. Normally it's men going up and sharing their stories. So having a couple of women in business, it allows us to speak more to that audience because it helps the people that are planning those events. If we hook up with them, then they know someone to go to and they don't have to search for a woman in business to go speak,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, right now, there's a lot of opening for that. There's a lot of opening, and then there's a
All
lot
over the
of,
world, all
yeah,
over the world. So like
yeah,
you expressed going to different countries, we do a lot of business in other countries on certain markets that we can't be successful in the US, but in the UK, we're very successful. In Canada, we're very successful. And Australia, we're very, very successful. So
wow. Yeah,
yeah.
I used to be really successful in Canada. I used to have so many people come from Canada to our events. It's like, you must pass 100 million events to come all the way, and seminars to come all the way, but they have a reason to come to LA or California.
It's because
Yeah.
it's warm there.
Is that it? I thought it was just because Hollywood.
Well, and the wonderful people, but
Yeah, so don't come today. That's the word today, but no. Great. So definitely, yeah, dive into that worldwide. The world is your playground. Go out and play.
right now, go out there.
Especially now, exactly. Well, you can do it virtually. You don't have to physically. It's like you don't have to even. They don't even expect you to be there. So take advantage of this virtual connections while we have it. Okay, so Dawn, Francis, Ty, Tracy, anyone else? Then we have any ideas or want any feedback for developing your boards?
Something I have done for years prior to not being able to have galas is offer gift certificates for my service, and it's for nonprofits that hire this auction company to bring in their, I'll say, stable of contacts. And so my name, my information, my offer, it's silent auction raffle type thing, and it gets in front of people with money. So that's always been since, gosh, 2006, I want to say. I've been doing this. So only in 2020 it slowed down because they couldn't do the in-person. So the auctions went online. Tempered it a bit, but I see next year coming up again.
Fantastic. And the thing is that, you have especially for your animal communication, there's a lot of people,
Yes.
there's a lot of people that, are surrounding that space. So it could be nonprofit organizations, it could be leaders of nonprofit organizations, it can be leaders. So there's a lot of nonprofits around animals and animal cruelty and the SPCA and different organizations like that. So your people could be, your board, could be board of care. I don't know if that makes sense, a board of care, whatever it is, but your board could be a few people of that type that makes sure that when they have the events, again, you're there, you're on their list. They give you preference to promoting or advertising or the interviewing. And even if you just do it again, one a month or whatever that point on. I mean, you can pace this as whatever, it depends on how aggressive you want to be. So if you just add one person a month, but just being able to make sure that you have that type of relationship with them, that they're going to promote you and you're going to promote them. Because all you need is a few to be able to get, again, I think the biggest lesson and takeaway is that get the people that have a wide net. We're very comfortable, the low hanging fruit is very easy, and we're all comfortable in acquiring that because it's there, easy. But it's the people that have the big nets that we somehow feel either intimidated or feel why they don't want to be involved with me, or why would they want to be involved with me, or what could I do with them, or I'm not big enough, I'm not, rich enough, I'm not established enough, whatever it is that comes into the play. So when you go to the big one, they can, spread their net and you can get a lot more accomplished. So think about that. And then this just gives you an opportunity to be a part of, because again, just because they're atop of something doesn't mean they're involved in any kind of boards or organizations. And many people do. Many people that are in top of their game want to be involved in something that is credible and acknowledges for that. So, it could be, you can kind of create this as you want. And but just think about the top people. Like the top organizations, a lot of women, there's a lot of groups that you may be. So just create that, that committee or that commitment of people that again, it doesn't have to be on a consistent basis. It could be quarterly, it could be annual, it could be, again, once a month, whatever your bandwidth allows, engage in something that's going to support you.
Thank you.
You're great because you've been doing it, you've got the credibility. So you'll just get streams of clients and you get streams of publicity, you get streams of things that you didn't imagine happening.
Mm-hmm. I like it.
Good, good. All right, anyone else?
Hi, Desiree. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi. So yeah, it's Pamela. I just wanted to let you know I'm still listening. I'm very, very much a student. I love the idea of the board of influencers. That's just absolutely brilliant. So I'm listening and brainstorming and, certainly also thinking of, how I can, send some people your way as well, to be on that board. But thank you for this technique. Just letting you know I'm still alive. I'm listening. I don't know if the chat is working. Did I send a chat? Did anyone get a chat from me?
I
No.
can't see the chat. You may have. I'm sure it's working. I see some people in the chat. I see Francis.
Yeah.
I see some people in the chat. Just put it in there.
Okay.
But I'm sure you'll see it if it goes in, and just type your message.
Yeah, no, I just
You're doing
didn't take, but that's okay.
you're doing the podcast. Who are you interviewing specifically for your
So
podcast?
I'm not interviewing anyone as of yet. It is going to grow into that. Right now is just prayers. I'm inviting people to pray with me. I have a ritual set of prayers. It's just 20 minutes and it just kind of kickstarts your day. And I'm telling you, the audience is building, and that's probably the most thrilling, to hear from people. I'm in Australia, I'm listening. I'm in Sweden, my friends from New Jersey are all tuned in. It's just a great time right now. But we pray every day. I get up in the middle of the night because we're California, and I record the podcast, and then it goes live, to wherever it's going to go. So my goal is for everyone to have it there in the morning, maybe when they're drinking their coffee or something. And then also it kind of gives you a nice boost, around 4 o'clock when you hit that slump, when, adversities have already come on you for the day, and you're like, I need this shot of strength. And it's really hard, for us to shut down and just pray. So if they listen to the podcast, hopefully that alleviates, some of that stress and redirects you, that God's in control and that he hears you. So that's it. That's what I'm, doing right now. And, but no, thank you for this. I'm listening. I just want to let you know, I'm, all of the ladies, and, it's how you do it. It's how you grow. It's how you learn. And I'm always thinking, certainly I'm going to be subscribing to your magazine and spreading the word. That's how we do it. Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Thank you. Put your information in, put your podcast information in the chat so people that want to listen to you or want
Yeah.
to subscribe can do that. Are you familiar
Okay.
with Patreon? Are you familiar with Patreon?
I am, but very little. So like I said, very much a student, just learning it. I'm only 2 months in on the podcast. And so anyway, but Patreon, yeah, I'll look at it for funding. I'm sorry, what do I tie them in with?
For funding. We're going to
For
do
funding.
we're going to do another, we've been doing classes on it. We're going to do another presentation on it probably next couple of weeks.
Excellent.
Because we've talked about, but we haven't incorporated it in our business, but I think we're going to incorporate it with our magazine. And
Okay.
so I'm going to do a demonstration on how I'm going to set it up for the magazine, and that will give people an opportunity to see. But that would be a great thing for your podcast. Start now.
Oh, thank you. I'll be tuned in. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
I'm
luck.
trying to send a chat. I don't know. I'm
What is
just
it
not
that you're trying to do?
I'm not tech savvy. Yeah, I typed up a little something.
And then push send, or push.
Yeah, I'm trying to
Put it to, and then, or just push your return button and it goes off. So just type something
okay.
in and push
That
your
might work.
return.
Let
I
me
just
see
put
if that.
test in there. So just put information, put test.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Who else? Who else? Who else? Regina, Ty, anybody else?
Well, I definitely like the idea. I think that's great information, and not something I thought of before, but it's something to definitely look into, especially with me in the middle of this changing over, and
Transition.
Yes.
Transition.
And
What's it called? Is it metamorphosis when the caterpillar?
Yes, metamorphosis when the
caterpillar converts into the butterfly.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Look up that story. There's a lot of stories around that. Anyone that's in transition, I would recommend it. Just Google that, and there's a lot of stories. There's actually a beautiful, I don't remember when or where, but there's a beautiful a preacher that does a beautiful story on that. I actually was live in that sermon, and that's why it stuck, because he just said a beautiful story about, really describing it more eloquently than I did yesterday, that process. And it just made so much sense. It was just a release. So you're in metamorphosis. So, but still knowing that you're going to the art, again, think about who you want your market to be. If it's people that are retired, which is, again, a lot of people are retired. We have, Bernadine rather, on our line today. That would be someone that's retired that has that extra time and perhaps has that passion. So just kind of think about who your audience really is. And then there's all these different groups, the social groups and organizations, even social groups like, was it Golden? What's the dating site for the older golden years, or I don't know.
know which
There's the dating site. Nobody's been on that dating site but me. I'm the only senior in here.
RP, does that help?
AARP. Okay, there we go. I was just so yeah, so places like that, people like that, they actually, and there's actually at one point there's a woman of color that was the president or the CEO of AARP. So that would be a very interesting person. So just, just pick the top of the top. And, and even if you're in the stage of developing it, I mean, get to a baseline. So you at least have a website or you have a community, but start making your list now on Trello of people that you do want to reach out to in a couple of months when you've kind of completed your process, and invite them to be, on your board of influencers and say, this is what you're doing and so forth. First people ask you is that what time is involved. That's the first thing I ask when I'm involved or invited for any board. What time commitment do I need to make? Because that just tells me that I have the ability to time. And then I ask if there's any financial investment I need to make. Many times, depends on the board, there's not, but sometimes there is. They say that either you need to bring money, either you bring resources, or you bring talent, which means that either you bring dollars to the table or you bring resources that will bring dollars, like, access to entertainers or celebrities or whatever that, or you bring your talent, your attorney or your accountant or whatever, you bring your talent to the table. But those are the more formal boards, advisory boards and boards of directors. This is going to be more of a social kind of fun thing. So that's usually the first question they're going to ask you. So that's why you have to be prepared as to what you're going to need from them. What we need is that, I'm going to send you an application, just so we can get the correct information that you want us to promote. Some people have multiple websites. Some people have multiple programs. So you want to have exactly what they want you to be sharing, and then they'll give you a chance to ask about their community and list and so forth, and take it from there. But yeah, so there's dive into what your niche is. Be comfortable with that. You don't need the rest of the whole world. You just need half of it, and half of the world will fall into your category. Okay. Ty and anyone else? And ladies and gentlemen, if you are complete, then I am. I just want to make sure you take advantage of sharing what you need to share and me sharing to you what I wanted to share.
This has been fascinating. Thank you very much. I enjoyed it. I'm complete.
You're complete. Awesome. Thank you. Did you hear about our events or that you used to ask about dating sites, Bumble? In February, we were talking about Bumble. So you asked.
Yeah, I kind of, I think I was in that one, I think.
Okay.
I think I was, yeah.
That's probably how you got the email for this. Yeah, for the Bumble. Okay. Fantastic. All right. Everybody complete? Yes. Everyone's going to go out there now, think about their board of influence. Just put it in your Trello. Just make your list and decide again your call first to make sure that they're still in business. They're still the person that's in charge. You got the right email address. They're at all interested in playing. And if they are, then fine. Say, great, I'm going to send you an invitation. The invitation will have more details about what it involves, what you're going to give them, what you're asking them, and then a form. You can make those forms really. We use Infusionsoft, but there's a lot of, what is that form, that free form service. There's a lot of free form services. Create a form, just ask them some basic information, get that information, get an idea approximately what they have as far as the list, and then schedule their interview and know where you're going to put it and promote it. And if you need any ideas or any other questions, feel free to give me a call.
I do have something.
Yes.
I have something that I'd like to share. I joined the Chamber of Commerce in my neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
We moved to the neighborhood in '96, and there was a lot of seniors in the neighborhood that I couldn't quite understand why there were so many seniors initially, but now I do appreciate the fact that I do have a lot of seniors in the neighborhood, because that's one of the markets that I'm one of the communities that I'm pursuing. So my product started as a concept when I was pregnant. So it was catered to maternity women. And the more I talked to maternity women, the more it branched to someone saying, consider seniors. And I said, okay. So I considered seniors. And then when I talked to seniors, they said, you should consider handicap and the wheelchair bound people. So the more I talked about my product, the more ideas that I got. And so it just kind of build and build and build and build in terms of communities that can use the product, to the point where my hands were so full that I actually had to scale back and say, I'm going to focus on a particular design, particularly in the beginning. I'm going to focus on a particular design, and I'm going after maybe 2 of the 9 communities that I think would benefit from it. So I think it's just interesting just to have conversations and network with people, and you get amazing contacts. One retired person gave me his notebook of about 400 different contacts. So it's important to network. It's important to belong to whatever associations and affiliates that benefit your product. So thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. Do you have your product, or are you in prototype stage? Do you have product?
I do.
You do. How many would you say? 100, 500, 1,000, 10?
Products.
Yeah,
So,
to sell. If you were to sell something right now, how much would you be able to sell? How much do you
so
have?
when you say, do I have a product? I do have the product. I do have a prototype. My product is in production. So I have someone now that's making the product for me.
Mhm.
So that's where I am.
Okay, so you have the prototypes, but you have someone making the product for you. And do you know when are you waiting for funds to complete that production, or are they already just in the process of being produced and you'll have a delivery of X amount and a certain date and time?
I had a really long delay in ordering fabrics. It's really challenging to get the fabric that I'm using, because it's organic cotton and it's certified. And I want to know all the ins and outs of what goes into this fabric. So I was on a delay for about 4 months last year because of COVID. So now I have the fabric that I was waiting to be shipped from India, and all the product is now in the hands of the contractor.
All right, so when will you have product to sell, and how many would you have?
I will have product to sell in 8 weeks.
Okay, and how many would you have approximately? Again, is you gonna have 10, I'm trying 20, 100, I'm just trying to give you a support.
So for one design, I will have 1,000.
Okay, all right, so 1,000, and is that for male and female? Is that unisex?
Female.
Female, okay, all
It's
right,
one of 3 designs.
okay. So again, we can talk through about that, and I'm glad I had to support you with that. She has a product that is underpants that snaps, that has snaps, or I don't know, probably you can describe it better, that for people that can't get up and stand up, to avoid them having to stand up and try to move their pants or their underpants, then they fall and trip and have accidents. So her product allows you to unsnap them for the change, which is amazing, wonderful product. But like anything else, that's something that has to be, it's not like a service where you can just kind of just start your business and go. She has to actually get the product and source it and market it. So my thought is that, and let's just start, if you say 8 weeks, let's just really get diligent on creating a plan so that when that product launches, you can have people participate in your launch. So it could be either your board of influencer or board of whatever it is, your partners, your ambassadors, whatever it wants to be, create those people now. So when you get that product, this product, everyone is waiting. So whatever your promo is, you shared it with them. You'll be able to give their groups and organizations discounts initially, if it's a senior home or whatever, just, create the buzz around it. And 8 weeks is like just perfect time to start preparing for that. So that those 1,000 products will have a back order. You'll have a back order in those products. We've got some crows that are banging on our door. So just think about it now. And as we talk over the weeks, just plan that and get your group of people, your list of people, so that you've got a back order. You've got, before you even get orders for them. And that way it's a great, strong launch. So that's how this will be applicable for you, is building that team right now.
Great.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Your the board of safety ambassadors or your safety ambassadors or whatever. Just go Google around and you'll find words that make sense and that you find. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to live with it forever, but it could be for this launch, you know. And of course, if you expect it in 8 weeks, allow yourself 10 weeks because there's always delays. But, you know, just again, get them pre-sold and get these people on your community to support that. This is a great product.
Yeah,
Okay.
great.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been my pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you soon. I encourage you to sign up for a book club, and also because that's a great thing. And then mark your calendars for Mother's Day. We are having a second Sunday, and we're having Millionaire Moms. We have a couple of moms that made millions with in spite of having little ones running around. So we want to hear how they did that and how they did it successfully. And it's just fun for us to connect. It's early, 9 to 10:30, so early enough in the day we can kind of get that boost of love and then go out and enjoy your day. Okay, so thank you, thank you, thank you, and I look forward to seeing you soon next Wednesday at 9 o'clock. Bye, y'all.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
Bye,
great.
everyone.
Bye.